Hello, CEP 200 students, and welcome to Unit 5 of the course. We have Unit 5, Unit 6, and the conclusion unit, and then we are all done, and I promise you this is going to fly by. So if you are having a hard time keeping up already, you really want to make sure that you are, really getting your bearings, this semester, this unit, and asking questions and reaching out to me so that we can make sure that you are finishing this semester strong. So a couple of things I want to mention before getting into the Unit 5 stuff. So you just handed in Unit 4, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys had to say about this unit. As I mentioned in the last unit video, this is one that I'm really, really passionate about. This is, a concept that a lot of my work is really centered around as a therapist, and students typically really enjoy this unit. So I'm looking forward to seeing the feedback that I get about this one. And the other thing I want to note, Unit 3, there was a significant improvement in the unit assignments. I think there was only maybe 10 people, maybe even less, out of 70 who didn't get full credit on the unit assignment. So really good job. Thank you for those who may not have done as well on Unit 1 or Unit 2 and really took the feedback and went with it. So really, really nice job. I know that everyone should have seen my comment about, or my announcement about the Unit 2 quizzes. I noticed a lot of people were getting the question wrong about the accrediting organization for rehabilitation counselors, and the correct answer was the CRCC. I specifically mentioned that in the unit video. So unfortunately, if I notice that you are getting answers wrong on the quiz that were included in the unit video, there is going to be a penalty, because the unit video is a material, an element of the material that you really need to be making sure that you're reviewing each unit. So if you're not doing that, there will be a penalty, because these videos are really important. So for Unit 5, it's not too lengthy. You're going to watch this video. You're going to read chapters 7, 9, and 10. You're going to watch the video on organizational counseling, read a supplemental article, complete the Unit 5 assignment, complete journal reflection number 3, and then also complete quiz number 3. So what I'm going to do right now is just open up my portal just to give you the reflection as well as the 2 quiz question responses, and then talk a little bit about the counseling careers that we are going to have in this unit. So while this is opening up, we are going to be, so this is your unit about getting creative. So we are going to talk about counselors in the expressive arts, organizational counselors, and pastoral counselors. So your creative and expressive arts therapists are like your creative therapists, your art therapists that you typically might hear of. So they use interventions that include art and expression to really help with therapeutic interventions. For organizational counselors, so this is more of a new counseling profession over the last couple of years. So with this one, organizational counselors, as you're going to learn in a unit, they serve more in an HR type of capacity. So they aren't your typical counselors who counsel or anything like that. So what organizational counselors do is they take a look at organizations, corporations. So they're employed for an organization, and they look at retention or problems that employees typically have in the workplace, and they look to try to figure out how exactly people worked around that, or what are some ways to keep employees or resolve the problems that employees are identifying. So I hope that makes sense a little bit. So they're not your traditional counselors. And then pastoral counselors, these are your faith-based counselors. And a lot of people at the end of the semester, they usually give me feedback on the organizational counselors and the pastoral counselors about these being two types of counseling professionals that they weren't really aware of. So pastoral counselors, yeah, these are your faith-based counselors that if you're, if you really identify with your faith or you're heavy into like religion, these counselors can are familiar with the religion and can help therapeutically in the sense of like tying in your religion to your counseling process. So I hope that makes sense. And so for the quiz, again, most of the quizzes are graded manually. I'm not sure if I think quiz 3 might be the only one that does not call for it to be manually graded. I think that it does a pretty good job on its own, but I will review them just in case to make sure. So the 2 questions from the quiz that I really want to note, the first one is, counselors in expressive arts may also be categorized as. So yeah, they might be creative therapists, and a couple of the other options that are included. However, the text specifically states that they are recreational therapists. So while the other ones might be true, your materials specifically say recreational therapists. So that is the correct answer for that question. The other one that might seem kind of tricky on the quiz is, according to Helkowski, the average median income for pastoral counselors in 2016 was. The correct answer is none of the above. So it does mention some number on there, but it does also say that there was no official information for the median income. So the answer to that one is none of the above. I know it presents itself as kind of tricky, which is why I'm giving you the answer for it. So remember, recreational therapists and none of the above. When we're talking about the journals, your journal reflection for journal number 3 is what makes organizational counselors so different from other counseling professionals. So I kind of gave you the answer here in the video, but I want you to take, your knowledge from what you read and what you listen to in this unit and really apply that. So remember, the journal entries don't need to be super, super in-depth. I did have a couple of people try to only give me like a sentence or a couple of words. It definitely needs to be more than that. So give me a couple of sentences to a paragraph for your journal reflections. Nothing less, nothing more. So I think that is pretty much it. So Unit 5, we will be turning in by the end of the day of April 24th. So by 11:59 p.m. as always. For Unit 6, I'm giving you a heads up. So Unit 5 is going to be your last unit assignment. So really make it worth it. Really put some effort into it. It's the last one you have to do this unit. For Unit 6, you have journal reflection, a discussion board, and the advocacy paper is due. Please, if you have not started your advocacy paper, do so now. Again, I'm going to reiterate just from what I've been saying from previous unit videos. Your advocacy paper, you are advocating for the vulnerable population that you mentioned. So please do your research under like why this is, the first part, first subtopic of your paper. Why is this a vulnerable population? Tell me what you've learned or what you know about them only from your research. This is meant to be an objective section of the paper. So please do not tell me a story of something that you've witnessed or something that you know about. Please don't tell me your opinion of it. The first part of the paper, as you're describing why this is a vulnerable population, is simply objective and it's from the research, okay? The subjective part comes in at the end when you're doing your advocacy plan. So the first and second topics of your paper, so why is this important? Why are they a vulnerable population and implications for counselors? You are telling me objectively. Implications for counselors, you're giving me your insight into why counselors should care about this population, but don't, again, tell me a story as to why it's important or anything like that. Your subjective part of the paper comes in for your advocacy plan. Remember, the advocacy plan is a step-by-step plan that is very detailed of you hypothetically already being in the counseling profession. So you're putting yourself in the position of a counselor and you're telling me how you would advocate for that population with unlimited resources. So please make sure you know what you are doing with this paper so that at the end of the semester you don't bomb it and get a very low grade and let it completely ruin the rest of the semester for you as far as grades. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Please review the sample paper that's in the folder. And I think that's it. So I think I've covered everything. So after Unit 6, you just have the quick conclusion unit, and then you'll be done. So Unit 5, Unit 6, and then conclusion, you're almost there. So please reach out to me if you have absolutely any questions, any concerns, anything like that. And I will chat with you guys soon.